Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday, November 3rd. We are in November. We made it past Halloweener and we're sliding to Christmas decoration time. How's everybody doing? I appreciate you joining me before we hop into things. Just a reminder, I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Massive Iron Live, answering your questions. If you're new here, post up your questions. Do not be shy, folks. Do not be shy. It doesn't matter if a question's been asked 1,000 times before. I want your question. What do I got here on my thing? You think you're all pretty and ready to go, and then you got like some dog hair, some leftover food from last night. Anyway, big news in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, I'll be doing this from a new location. I'll be doing this from my new home gym. The basement in my new house, going to be decked out. I'm going to make this the ultimate freaking home gym. Ultimate home gym. I'm super excited. Adding a leg press, like a horizontal leg press, and getting a dumbbell rack. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a dumbbell rack, 0 to 100, and then getting like 110s instead of 110s and 120s for fun. We're going to have multiple squat racks. We're going to have everything in this sucker, and I'm excited. But the way the new setup is going to be is that I'm going to have my desk. I'm going to have like a filming studio. So behind me, you'll be able to see the gym the whole time. We're going to start filming in the gym, which is awesome. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to piece this together. So stay tuned. So before we get into things, just a couple of housekeeping notes. If your questions don't go through, try rephrasing your question. It's not me throttling you. It is the YouTube censoring you and might not like a word you posted. The length might be too long on the question, so try turning the question down. Let me get my microphone a little bit up here. Maybe we can look a little bit more professional and have a big giant phallic microphone near us. Sorry, couldn't resist. How was everyone's Halloween? You guys have fun. You stay out of the candy. Any regrets due to way too much candy? I did all right. I had 5 little mini pieces. I won't lie. This is actually one right here, residue on my desk that I grabbed this morning. One of these little minis. I accidentally put that in my mouth. So anyway, before we get started, just a quick couple of notes, a couple of final notes. I'm going to have some Black Friday deals coming out. As always, I'm going to have a coaching special, which is going to be $8.99 for 15 months of coaching. This is going to be a great opportunity. It's available to new clients, my regular clients, anybody that wants to really save money on coaching and dig in. This coming year, I'm going to have a 12-month, no excuses, super intense hypertrophy, element of my training. So we're going to have a group that's going to be, I'm going to limit to about 10 guys, but it's going to be 10 guys that want to crush hypertrophy for the whole year, that are pretty much ready to bulk at least 10 months out of the year. We're going to really do some hardcore hypertrophy stuff in that arm of training. So any of my existing clients interested or any new clients interested, just watch for that. I'm going to have a couple minor things. I'm debating doing a pre-sale of my new book. It's going to be a monster series, so it might roll out. I got to figure out the logistics of that. I'm going to have a couple t-shirts at cost. I'm going to have my whey creatine at cost, stuff like that, my gym bag at cost. I don't make anything from that stuff anyway, so just watch for that. Things like my flags will be discounted and all that kind of good stuff. So, hello, YouTube. Let's get into things. Anybody that says Powerbuilding in their comments, you get a virtual high five. Is Powerbuilding dead yet? I don't know. Why does Powerbuilding have to die? I don't know. I'm so over it. I hope you guys are over it as well. Man, it's just a word. Can we just not have a brain hemorrhage over a word? All right, let's dive into things, guys. Where are we at? Remember, if you post a question before live starts, you get a chance to win a free shirt, hoodie, whey, creatine, or Team Massive membership. Tim, happy Friday. Paul from Team Massive, happy Friday, Paul. Powerbuilding lives on. Just a reminder, I have a private group. It's a website called Team Massive Iron. You can go to Team Massive Iron. If you don't know how to spell that, it's teammassiveiron.com, right? It's a private community. It's like a Facebook community, but it's private. And we keep out the riffraff by having a slight gatekeeper's fee. But you can kind of get micro coaching over there. You can get form checks per week. You can get all the questions you want. To help you as much as you want. So check that out. Yvonne from Team Massive, what's going on? Big Bad Tim from Team Massive. When I enlist in January, I'll be off the gym for 9 weeks, then maybe more. But I'll be staying very active, just likely not lifting. Tim, how much you're going to lose, it's hard to say. I mean, no one can quantify how much you're going to lose, right? You're at your peak right now. You're just peaking right now. Everything's going really well. You're probably going to lose, I don't know. It's after that first month of not lifting, you're probably going to lose about a few pounds of muscle. Don't worry about it. It'll come back, muscle memory. I don't even like to speculate, really. When I had my knee injury and couldn't really lift after COVID for a while, I think I lost 10 to 15 pounds of mass, but it came back right away, like in the next month and a half. So I don't know, Tim, and I don't like to speculate, but just know everything is going to be okay. Big Paul, if you're going to be super focused on bench, is it a good idea to maintain other big lifts? The best way to put it is, like, if you're going to have a bench specialization program, you are probably going to put more time and more energy and more set and more work into maybe your chest, your bench, your triceps, maybe even your delts. So it's not that I would just aim to maintain necessarily. Maybe you have a 2-set protocol on your squats or deads. Always take the reps that come to you, right? So we're going to enter that workout. We're still going to try to progress, but we're just doing a little bit less volume. But we're going to take the work that comes to us. We're going to take the PRs that come to us. Does that make sense, Paul? So we're not going to just lay down on the road and have be hit by a bus, on the other lifts. We're going to train smart. We're going to take the PRs when they're there, and that's really the best way you can look at things. All right, Yvonne, how would you recommend programming progression on massive curls and skull destroyers? So, massive curls, basically you do 8 strict reps of curls, right? Barbell, easy bar, whatever. You can even do this on cable curls if you can cheat. After you get to 8 on the first set, then you do 4 cheaty reps, English reps, and then you do drag curls to finish out, like a burnout. The second set on massive curls, or your final set on massive curls, you do as many quality curl reps as you can. Then you do the cheat or English reps. So on the second or your final set, if you get to 10 or more reps, then you would add weight. Does that make sense? Skull destroyers, those are actually harder to progress on than one would think, but you just need to keep those intuitive. When you feel like you can add 5 pounds without dying. Does that make sense? Big Bad Tim, any muscle groups for you that take particularly long to recover? The bigger ones that get hit with more volume for me tend to take a little bit longer to recover, like my quads. If I really work them hard and get sore, my hamstrings as well. I think hamstrings are one of those that are up there. We don't always, sometimes we feel like we're not training our hamstrings hard enough, right? That's kind of always the feeling I get, like I'm not training my hamstrings hard enough. But then they get super sore from, the work that I do on them. So apparently they're fine. Let me get a drink here and before we move on to the next question. Purple and backup purple. For most people, what would you guess is hardest to achieve? Good question. 315, 405, or 495. So, the hardest to achieve going to be probably, this is going to be a controversial one, but probably the squat. Now, hear me out. Bench is not super technical. If you stay in the grind and you eat properly, you have a pretty decent shot at hitting the 315 bench over your lifting career. Pretty much the same with deads. I mean, deads and squats, you're starting to get close, right? Which one is going to get harder? But I think the squat is more technical. The deadlift is a little bit nuanced. The deadlift, when it comes to form, is more of a game of a half inch or inch. I did a last weekend on Team Massive. I did a Fix My Deadlift seminar, and anybody that's part of Team Massive, you get those for free, all part of the thing. But I was talking a lot during that seminar or that video that the deadlift is really a game of a half inch or an inch. You can be a little bit forward on the deadlift, just a hair, right? And it'll throw your hips up a little bit. That's why you really need some coaching or direction to some degree on the deadlift, because it needs a keen eye, somebody that is used to seeing nuance. And it's really hard to perfectly dial in the deadlift, but the deadlift is more of a nuanced lift, where the squat is usually like the train wreck lift. So I would say easily when I see somebody 405 squatting, I'm like, we be in. Tim, ever been part of any muscle building research studies? No, I have not. I'm just trying to think through this because, I've been around the block so much. Some of my articles, not research, obviously, but some of my articles have, like my original power muscle burn system at Muscle and Strength has nearly 3,500 comments. And all the power muscle burn system has over 6,000 comments. So we have such a huge pool of feedback, unlike pretty much any other workout on the internet. I would wager this sounds like hyperbole, right? It sounds like blowing epic levels of YouTube fitness bullshit into the netherworld. But I would say if you look at Muscle and Strength, and you can let me know if you know of any other workout that compares. But at Muscle and Strength, you have my 4-day power muscle burn system, my 5-day, my 3-day, and kind of the diet. So you have like 4 articles. And I think there's probably at least 6,000 comments and over 20 million reads on those. Now, I don't know of, so maybe there are some other articles like this on the internet, but I do not know of any single workout on the internet that has that much feedback on the actual article page. So while I have not been a part of research studies, I've had a lot of feedback, like my 5, 10, 10, 20 bench program. My bench program is on Muscle and Strength. There's a world of feedback on those, right? So the feedback really tells me as a coach what's good, what's working, what excites people, right? So I'm not been a part of a research study, but in my just because of what I have done, having been able to put my workouts out there on Muscle and Brawn, Muscle and Strength, Critical Bench, and other websites, Tiger Fitness, I have been able to arguably be the most prolific workout producer in the industry. as far as views, reads, and feedback. And again, that sounds like puffing myself up, but um, I love workouts. I produce workouts, and I don't know of anybody that has more comments, reads on all their workout varieties than myself. And again, I'm not trying to move myself to the top of the mountain, but I'm just saying because of my career, that affords me a lot of feedback and a lot more feedback than the average YouTuber that puts together a workout. Does that make sense? Like, who was I thinking of? Who was I thinking of? Jeff Nippard. Jeff Nippard probably gets the same level of feedback on his programs because he's so prolific, and maybe Athlete X as well. I don't get a lot of views on YouTube, nothing like those guys, but my workouts, you can just check them out on Muscle and Strength. They provide so much good feedback. Anyway, I'm babbling. When I get close to failure on bench, the bar can start to spin or rotate. That's the bar. Um, if you're getting some bar spin, like there's been some cheap bars that I've worked with at gyms where the collars will spin, right? So you want to watch that. You really don't want the weights spinning. And I assume you mean the spin, the collar, the weights. That sounds like a cheap bar. So I would check the other bars, to be honest with you. You do not You do not want anything. There's a bar at one of the gyms I work out at right now where the collars spin a little bit, and you do not want that on bench, my friend. You do not. I'd rather you bench with any bar but that. Big Barbell Bryce. Good morning, Team Massive. Do you think I can bring my bench up by only benching once per week? Yeah, you can only bench. That's basically how I did things most of my career. You don't need to bench twice a week. But with that said, my bench workouts were rather brutal. I would bench basically I would do a little more like the bench fours. Okay. I'd work up to a top set of 3, 4, 5. This is, basically how I did things for a long time. And then I would drop, drop, drop. So I do 3 drop sets. Then I would do dumbbell bench 3 for 10. I would sometimes do guillotine bench 3 for 10, lighter. I would always do push-ups, at least 2 sets, sometimes 3 for max safe reps. And I would do close grips. So I'd have a lot of pressing in the mix. And it is brutal. It was volume. But if you only bench once a week, you're going to have to bring the brutality brigade into play. Powerbuilding. All right, stupid question. Sorry, I couldn't resist. 1, 2, 3, triggered. Powerbuilding. Let's hear it. On a 1 and a 2 and a 3, Powerbuilding must die. Okay, thank you. It's dead. Let's call it something else, like nozzle grinding. Let's move on. It's just a word. Dumbbells and donuts. Stupid question. But when people talk about their numbers, like I bench 315, is it the norm that they're talking about their 1 rep max rather than something they can do for reps? Yeah. I mean, how many people I've seen bench 315 for reps? Not many. It's pretty rare. So a lot of times I don't, what I typically do in the gym when I'm at a commercial gym is I'll work up to like 315. I don't know, for 8 or 9, whatever I'm at. That's just kind of where I hover around 8, 9, 10. And then I'll drop down to like 275 and try to get 20. And then usually I drop down to 225 and do max reps. So when I do like 275 for 20 or whatever I'm at, I don't know, 15, 16, 17, whatever I'm at that day. I don't want to quote numbers. It varies, but people are a little bit surprised. They've never, seen that before. I like benching and I like high rep benching. I really do. I really enjoy high rep benching. I enjoy it a lot more than I enjoy low rep benching. Big Stein, what's going on? Way down the road. We're gonna roll way down the road just for a second. Fat Chicken and Barn tuned in. Power Building. Thank you. Oh, good God. Barbell Bryce, do your best. I don't know if I can do it. Hello, you doob. Hello, you doob. Uh, I'm not. I'm not slapping at natural hypertrophy. We just. It's all in good fun. You know. Natural hypertrophy is a good guy. We're not slapping at him, but we were kind of messing around and joking around at Team Massive this week about power building and all the weird heat it gets, and we were talking about I was talking about doing the video trying to impersonate N8. So that's what we're doing. Anybody that takes it as kind of a slap or whatever, it's not. We're just having fun. Just having fun. So I hope no one no one takes it too seriously. I mean, the thing is, like, the thing is, in YouTube fitness, it's good to have discussions about power building and to work this stuff out. But I think it's run its course. We've added a lot of good conversation, good pieces of the conversation. I've used the term forever. I just like the term. I like it. It's not going to die because I like the term and it's harmless, right? No one gets harmed in the filming of a power building video, so it's not going to die. Yes, there are critiques about it that this is my final say. Okay. There are some critiques about power building where some people use low rep sets and some people do strength and hypertrophy phases, and therefore blah blah blah, it should die or it's stupid. If we use that same logic, and hear me out here, this is the final nail in the coffin. If we use that same logic and talk about the outliers that do things a certain way, I got to tell you something, friends. The average schmo doing bodybuilding is benching using low rep sets. So if we're going to critique power building, saying some guys do low rep sets, why don't we apply that same logic to bodybuilding and all the guys doing low rep sets, or bodybuilding, all the guys doing strength and hypertrophy phases? Because I'm going to tell you something, the strength and hypertrophy phase stuff, the craze, was basically started by guys like Lane Norton that had the 5-day workouts with the strength days and the hypertrophy days. Was it not? Yes, it was. I was there. How do I know? I featured their workouts on Massive Muscle and Brawn and on Tiger Fitness. So bodybuilding kind of created that stuff. Bodybuilding created that stuff. And bodybuilding created the strength and hypertrophy phases. Bodybuilding created the low rep on bench stuff. Why are we going after power building for it? You tell me. I don't know. All right, moving on. That's it. Team Massive and Big Hairy Ugly Dude, what are aches related to deadlifting and squatting that interfere with each other during the latter lift 2 days after the former? You can't really, the only way to deal with it is to deal with it, to adjust your programming, appropriately. That's the only way. You are going to get something when you are training hard. You're going to get something, right? You're going to get aches, pains, strains, something. So the only way to deal with any of this is to adjust your programming to accommodate it, right? Every muscle group is going to experience a different degree of soreness, right? Some muscles are going to give you aches, pains, and strains. Maybe your lower back's taking a beating. Maybe your hamstrings are taking a beating. Everybody's different, but the body, we are training more than muscles. We're training joints. We're strengthening joints. We're strengthening connective tissue, tendons, right? Central nervous system. A hard workout can weaken your immune system. It can open the door to sickness. If you haven't trained in a while and you train super hard, you can actually lower your immune system and open the door to a cold. I've had that happen a couple times. So how do we deal with any of this? We just adjust our programming. One of the tenets of the massive iron world is we evolve our training based on needs. And a lot of people ask, what does it mean to evolve your training based on needs? Well, this is a good case. If you're feeling hip aches a few days after squats and you want to still deadlift, we might have to adjust our training or when we attack the deadlift. Now, hidden in this is hip soreness or issues, hip aches. There could be a couple things going on here. You might need form help, right? So keep a keen eye on form. Have somebody help you with form. Barbell Bryce in Power Muscle B, and that can be burn, block, or bulldozer, depending on which iteration you do. The B at the end, basically for those watching at home, which is everybody, PMB is Power Muscle burn, block, or bulldozer. It's lower rep strength sets, 3 by 4 to 6. It's muscle sets, usually 10 to 12, 8 to 12 rep range, and more Bernie sets, higher rep work, or burn, block, or bulldozer sets. It's basically the system I built most of my early muscle on. So I've noticed that you implement power sets for close grip. Yeah. Do you find that triceps? No, I don't inherently find triceps respond better to one lift. I don't think like that, Bryce. I focus on a well-rounded group of exercises. Don't get caught up in one technique, right? After a lot of pressing work on bench and dumbbell bench, sometimes I like to do 8 to 10s on close grips. Sometimes I like to do 4 to 6. I'm all over the spectrum. So no one can say my triceps respond better to a specific rep range unless they ran that only and they ran the opposing only for years and they were able to make some reasonable comparison. A lot of it is just basically feel. What do I like at the moment? That's the only reason why I do things differently. Alano, how long is too long of progression? Is adding 1 rep a month too long? No. I think that what he's asking here is that bad progress? Is that too slow? Let's say you're benching like 185 by 5. Okay, so your bench is in the low 200s. Adding 1 rep a month is going to add about 5 to 6 on your top set, is going to add about 5 to 6 pounds to your bench max. Let me show you guys this. I do this occasionally, and I want to do this 1 rep max calculator. I want to do this live because this is something that I think we need to beat the drum on, continue the education on. So let me get the old screen of screeniness here in place. Okay. So I'm going to share screen. We'll see what we can do here. We'll do a little quick education. So let's say you are at 195. Let's say you're at 185 by 5. You consider yourself, you're dreaming of 315. You're at 185 by 5. Let me get the question off here. You're at 185 by 5. This stinking ad, get lost. Stop seeing this ad. Why? Okay, whatever. Could you just go away? Good grief. Okay. Not interested. Thank you. Yes, close my. Could you go away? All right. So 185 by 5. Your max is roughly around 208. Okay. You consider yourself, right? So you add one, let's say you only add 1 rep. 1 stinking rep. Watch what it does to your 1 rep max. You're at 208. Ooh, 1 rep. Move my 1 rep max to 214. That's 6 pounds. You had okay, so that was January, added a rep. February, added a rep. Okay. Now we went from 5. Now we're gonna add 1 rep a month and go from 185 by 5 to 185 by 17, 1 rep a month. That moved your bench press up to 290. Okay, 290. 290, and we started at 208. So 82 pounds, 1 rep a month on your top set adds to your bench about 82 pounds. Is that slow progress? No. This is where intermediates go to die. This is where the head cases start. They think they're doing something wrong. 1 rep every 2 months would be 40 pounds to your bench. You do this over 2 years, you're going to be benching 300 pounds. Let me repeat. You are the 185 by 5 pound bencher who feels like they're going nowhere, and you're only adding 1 rep every 2 months, and you're like standing at the edge, standing at the ledge, contemplating, do I even lift, right? Do I even lift? Is it even worth it? Is the creatine worth it? Are all the Athlete X videos about killing my gains worth it, right? In all seriousness, I know there are a lot of lifters out there like this, but I want you to hear me. You're the 185 by 5 lifter. You add 1 rep every 2 months to your top set of bench, and you will be the 240. You'll be the 285 by 5 lifter in 2 years, or 265 by 5, right? You'll be benching nearly 300 in 2 years. That's how the game goes. That's how the intermediate game goes. It's not too long. People don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. There must be a faster way. There must be a better way. Some random guy on the internet got the 315 after a year. I'm doing something wrong. The grind is the thing, man. The grind is the path. The grind is the way. There's no secret way. That's one of the hardest aspects of coaching, is just keeping people on the track. Like, you are on the right track, but I'm not making any progress. You are making progress, my friend. And without the big, hairy, ugly dude keeping you on track, you're going to get off track. You're going to start program hopping. You're going to start program jumping. You're going to mess around. You're going to constantly be doing this intermediate head game thing where you feel like you're not progressing at all. And you're going to derail your own progress. Adding 1 rep every 4, 6, 8 weeks as an intermediate is normal. On some lifts, you won't even get that. Let me explain. Lat pull downs. As an intermediate, they progress much more slowly than bench. Big, hairy, ugly dude, I'm never adding reps on my lat pull downs. I haven't really added reps on my lat pull downs in 20 years, friends. They're in hold steady mode, right? Each rep on a lat pull down is like a gift from Crom. It's like a Christmas gift. You get it once a year, for good luck. That's the plan, guys. That's how it works. What separates the winners from the whiners, the winners from the program hoppers, jumpers, and skippers, is the winners keep moving forward. They understand the math. They understand the process. They don't quit. They don't jump. They don't change. They don't mess around. Now imagine it being a woman. We just posted a video of like a woman deadlifting well over 600 pounds at, like, I don't know what her weight was, 160. Imagine being a woman that's 105 by 5 on bench, and she wants to get to 135, which is a really decent, respectable level. It's not the end goal, but it's respectable. It's going to be even slower, right? So just hang tough, guys. Look at the 10-year plan. Do some projections. Stay on the tracks. Big Tim and Alano, I'm going to give you a t-shirt, a hoodie, whey, or creatine, or Team Massive membership. Email me, benthebarman@gmail.com. Let me get it up. Email me, benthebarman. Where are we at? Instagram @benthebarman or benthebarman@gmail.com. I'm going to hook you up. All right. Where are we at, all you sexy people? Tim, how does training look for advanced lifters when they're happy with their mass? Um, well, an advanced lifter has to determine once you get to more advanced stages, right? You know how to program for your body. Here's the thing you have to ask this is a tough question. When you're about as big and as strong as anybody would ever want to get, you have to ask yourself, how much brutality am I willing to put myself through for the last 1 to 2%? Right? I have put myself through that brutality, from I think age 42 to age 50. I was training as hard as ever in my career. Those were volume sets and beefy sets and heavy sets and hard sets, and arguably my hardest training of my career from 42 to 50. And what did I get out of it? Not a heck of a lot. I did some refinement, certainly. We'll always have muscle groups we can refine. But when you get to an advanced lifter, I will tell you this it is super easy to maintain. You don't need a lot of volume. Um, you don't need high rep work. It's super easy to maintain mass. Strength, I mean, if you're not going to if you're benching like 430 and you get away from low rep work and you're just doing like 225 to 275 for reps, your bench might drop, maybe 5%. You can get it back quickly, but it's really, really easy to sustain. Not a lot of advanced guys, enter that sustaining stage because they like training. Rico, happy Friday. Barbell Bryce, as a 500-pound deadlifter, would alternating between a 10-minute block and a power set be okay? Yeah, it'd be okay. Am I strong enough that I should only pull from the floor every other week? Yes. You don't have to pull from the floor every other week. Your question is, am I strong enough that I should consider it? Yes. I mean, the thing is, Bryce, do what you want right now. But understand, you're a young guy. If you want to be lifting, when you're at 50, age 50, there's going to be some times where it might make sense to take some pressure off your lower back. So do what you want in the current season, but just know you got a long road ahead of you. Dominic, happy Friday. Thanks, sir. I'm a few weeks into a cut and a new plan. Any tips for adjusting to a new plan while also in a deficit? Dominic, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I hope you can learn from this. This is not I'm not trying to be harsh, super critical, but you don't want to really do a new plan when you start a cut. Cut is when you kind of cruise and hold steady and don't do anything crazy or new because you don't want to get injured, because your focus during a cut is the deficit. So I would save a new program for a bulk. A cut, you don't want to over push for PRs. It's okay to play around with a new program, but we're not pushing 100%. We're getting used to the demands of the program, but we don't want to run full speed on a cut. And we want to save that for a bulk. We want to get used to the demands. We don't want to over push finishers. We don't want to over push for 1 rep maxes or plus ones. If you have an opportunity to steal an easy +1 on a cut, then take it. Absolutely. Just don't over push. Dumbbells and donuts. What is the main difference between the close grip bench and the bench? The close grip bench, let me take this down. You got your regular bench, okay? Your close grip is going to be about 1 palm in. That's about it. So it's going to be a little bit closer in, maybe a little bit more. Because you're doing this, it's going to place more emphasis on your triceps. So you're benching right about here. Your elbows are 45 degrees-ish, right? You're looking like a triangle man. You're benching. A JM press, You got a narrower grip, grip, where your wrists are about over your elbows. See that? And whoops, I just bumped the mic. You're starting out here and you're bringing the weight towards your neck, not all the way down your neck because that's an arbitrary, but you're doing this, right? You have a closer grip, you're bringing the weight down towards your neck. It's more of an extension. Your arms can flail, flare, it doesn't really matter. Let the elbows go where they want, but you're bringing the weight down here. A guillotine press, you'd bring the weight towards your neck as well with your arms flared, but with a JM, you have a more narrow grip. So, does that make sense? Jeremy O, do you care at all about the Olympia? I I have a lot going on, but I always keep a side eye on the Olympia. When I worked at Tiger Fitness and Muscle and Strength, I would always have to stay up and do the articles and get the articles out and that sort of thing. Um, but I am moving into a house soon. I got a lot going on right now, so typically I will see who won, but I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to it beyond that this weekend. Big Justin Jones, is it still progress if I'm able to do one more rep on each set of bench, but on the second pushing exercise? Yeah, but it's not going to happen like that every workout. What typically happens is the body is the body is never the same week in and week out. You might not have the same glycogen stores heading into the workout. You might be a little bit physically tired. So a lot of times you see that big push on that first exercise, a PR, and then a letdown exercise, kind of maybe from glycogen depletion or whatever. That's not abnormal at all. But once you have the strength and you step back a rep or two on exercise, it'll always come back. It's just a temporary hiccup. I'm planning on getting a leverage press machine for my home gym. Do you think it's worth it? A leverage press machine. I'm not sure what you mean. Leverage press machine. Is that like, are you talking like something you can do a T-bar with? I'd like to see a link of what specifically you're talking about. I see like a leverage gym. There are, like plate loaded chest presses and stuff like that. But heck, man, you want to sell out to your home gym and get extra equipment? 100%. I love having options. At my gym, I added a plate loaded chest press just because I like the way it feels. And after I do dumbbell bench and barbell bench, I like doing the plate loaded chest press. I think it's a great exercise. Elliot N. Hello. Shout out to Team Massive. Thanks. Home of the power builders. Right. Question: does leg press and Smith machine squat work out? Strength always builds strength. To what degree, is debatable. But strength builds strength. That's a foundation, right? What we have to do is take the broader perspective. We want to build as much strength as we can from head to toe. You want to use a quality grouping of exercises per muscle group. So, strength is always going to build strength. To what degree? I don't know. But you have to do some additional quad work for your squats, for your deadlifts. You have to do some additional quad work, some additional leg work, and those are some really good choices. Rico, if you could have a second chance at one event in your life, what would you choose? What would you do differently? That's easy. And that event would be baseball. Now, just a little bit of a backtrack. I was a catcher for a long, long time. I played all the way through Babe Ruth baseball in high school. And I caught some really good guys, some guys I went on to play minor league ball, right? So I was one of the top hitters in the city. I hate to say things like that because you get into the Oh, here comes the internet guru claim, but that was the one thing I was good at is hitting. I was a really good hitter. Um, and I was known for being a good hitter. I was mediocre speed. I had a mediocre arm. I had mediocre power, but I could hit for average. Okay. When I went to college, I built a lot of strength the first year and a half. And when I came back, I was crushing the ball. Like my power dramatically increased, and my speed had increased, and my throwing arm had increased from strength training. But if I had to go back and change one thing, I would have played college ball. Not because I'm going to sit here in front of the worldwide interrupts and say I was such a good hitter that I could have played pro ball, right? I'm not that much of a dipshit, right? I think I could have played college ball. I could have played college ball. How good I would have done, who knows? That's why you play the games, right? But I would love to know. I would love to know. With my strength and my speed and my throwing arm that I got from lifting, it made me such a better ball player. And when I could hit for average to begin with, I'm always out there wondering what could have been. There are not a lot like it's very cliche in life to say, I'm happy with my life and I wouldn't change a thing. You know what? I would change a few things. And that's one of the things I would change because I was a kid. I wish I would have had better direction. Somebody that would have said, "Man, you need to go play. You need to go play college ball, even at a small team." Right? That's what I would do differently. So I'm going to skip forward just real quick. No, Mawson, how much your coaching services cost? You can do 15 months for $8.99 if you want to outlay right out of the gate. Also, first month is $149. We do a lot of upfront work the first month. We do a call, we set up a workout, we set up everything. It's more time consuming. And after the first month, the rest of coaching is $89.40 a month. So it's like a 40% discount. So $89.40 for as long as you stay on. All right, where are we? And if you guys are curious about coaching, you can head over to superlivingtoday.com. All right, where are we? Where are we? We got to crawl back. Crawl back. Crawl back. Eric said, hello. Thanks. One of those things that you do on YouTube that'll live forever. Sam, I have some. What? Oh, my goodness. He's throwing out the MILF. I have some MILF forearm tendonitis. I think he means mild, but no problem, Sam. It's hard to skip past MILF, right? Freudian slip, right? I have some mild forearm tendonitis for 5 months, even with straps. Should you just take time off? No, I'm not a big fan of that. Get some Versagrip Pros. You can relax your grip a lot on Versagrip Pros. Ask Santa for them. Sell a kidney, sell some blood, get some Versagrip Pros. They're much better than straps for MILF tendonitis. Steel Rat goes to gym. Happy Friday, big hair regular dude, massive folks. Thank you. Any suggestions for tennis elbow rehab? I'm not a rehab guy, so if I stepped out of my lane and gave you like 5 random rehab exercises, I'd be full of crap. No. All I can tell you is that using grip support like Versagrip Pros is essential in the long run. Alien Viva la Powerbuilding. Barbell Beauty, Team Massive. Benefits of switching from sumo to conventional. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere with sumo. I think you're pretty strong, but I think you should try. Sumo's a little bit more technical, right? It's less. I hate to say it's less brute force, but in a way, it is a little bit, right? Conventional is a little bit more brute force. Hex bar is a little bit more brute force. That's going to trigger some folks. But, you're a brute force lifter, you're a PR lifter. I would recommend you probably do conventional 1 week and hex the next, or conventional 1 week and just a rack or block pull the next. Big Sam, in the past, if you had shoulder issues, did you still train with lighter rates? Every issue you have, whatever strain, pain you're dealing with, you have to approach it the same way. People always ask me, how do I approach this, that, or the other thing, this injury, that injury? You have to approach it the same way. You have to see what you can do and then do it and be really conservative. And some things you can do halfway, so you do them halfway. But, that's the way you have to approach every injury. You have to do what you can do. Is weekly volume meaning high total reps or higher sets? We look at sets. Reps are going to kind of even out, right? Reps are going to even out because 1 week you might do 7, the next week 9 with a weight. They're going to kind of even out. So we use reps as a reasonable rep range, and then we count sets. Does that make sense? All right, we're about 52 minutes in. Let me get a drink. All right. Keep the questions coming, guys. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. We have about 30 left in the queue, if not more. Post your questions up now. I'd be glad to help you out. Somebody's scratching at the door. What do we got here? We have the schnitzels. This is our new guy, Blue's Clues. This is Blue. He's our new guy. How many weeks have we had Blue now? 12.
Now he's 12 weeks old. We've had him for 4.
Little Blue. How did Blue do?
He got his first needles.
Blue had his first needles today.
And they clipped his nails.
He's about 10 weeks old. We're 11.
Maybe 12.
He's a sweet little boy.
Hey, big Bubba.
And Blue's got a medical condition. Blue has a hernia. I'll see if I can show you guys. See his little hernia? Yeah.
It's his belly button.
He got a big belly button, Blue. But he's a good guy. And he's blue because he's kind of blue-gray. And you see his eyes are kind of gray-green.
Where's Bubba?
Bubba burped.
Bubba's got brown eyes.
This is Bubba Sausages. He's the oldest sausage.
See how big old Bubby is?
Bubby's a good boy, the best boy I ever know.
Bubby's 3.
Okay, I'm going to put him down.
Bubsy's 3. Oh, Blue.
This is Chichi Maranga. Come here, Chichi.
Chichi went to the vet and got his needle too.
This is my boy. He's follows me around.
Ears. He was a little naughty.
He's Buddy Boy, or Chichi.
Oh, come here, Scooty.
Oh. And he's the guy that loves Daddy.
This big boy.
And that is the tank. That's the soldier. That's the guardian of the house. And the lover boy that likes to lick. That's Snoop Dogg. He's a crazy dude. He really is.
He's a mama's big boy, but he loves all his cuddles.
Yeah.
He's such a big boy.
So we are getting a new house. We're super blessed. We're getting a new house in like a week and a half, and it's it's kind of a cool thing. So we got 4 little people. Like, you got 4 dogs? Yeah, these guys are super little.
He just looks big. Scooty Rudy does look big because he's like this. Hello.
We actually signed up today to get our 5th dog after Thanksgiving. We're getting a basset hound, so we're gonna have five dogs, 5 hounds. These little guys, and the basset hound, he's gonna be my guy. He's gonna be a big old slob gobbler. We already got his name. The basset hound's name is. Can you say it?
Blubber.
Blubber McGee.
Blubber McGee.
Blubber McGee is the basset hound's name.
And we've got Snoopy Doodle.
Yep.
Who never gets dirty. I have no idea how Scooty
Maranga.
Rudy. Look at him. He's so white.
Yeah.
He looks like he's OxyClean.
All right. Back to the question.
And poor Bubba gets dirty. Come on, boys. They're all covered.
All right.
Come on, they're all high.
That's the dog intervention for the week. Thank you. Shelly from Team Massive. I've looked forward to this all week. Thank you for tuning in, Shelly. Now I'm missing the first part because I rushed to the gym and forgot my earbuds. We're having something going on. Hey, babe, could you close the door, please? No worries. You can always tune in later. Sorry, we had some noise there. How can I make the intro song my morning alarm clock? I have the full version. Anybody that wants it, I'll have to find a way. Maybe I'll post it as like a short with a link to download it. I don't know. I got to find a way where you can download files. I'm not a download file guy. So maybe if I put it up on a YouTube and have a download. Eric, White Monster engaged. Steel Rock goes to gym. On which movements do you like doing more than 3 hard sets per session? Good question. There are some exercises I find easier to recover, right? From set to set, seated cable rows, lat pull downs, leg extensions, leg curls, usually kind of the cable-y stuff. I also like to do volume on bench work. So those are the ones I enjoy. There's certain exercises where you can just like almost keep going even though you're working hard, but those are the movements I would say. Carlton, good morning. Just checking in. Thanks for tuning in. Carlton's a client of mine. Road agent, big shout out to Big Hairy Ugly Dude. No Halloween stuff for me. Just thankful no kids showed up. Oh, look at this. Thankful no kids showed up. No problem. I'm not going to judge. If Powerbuilding is dead, does that make us necromancers? Yes, and you get to level up. We get to level up with +1s. DG's coming back at 3 to 4 months. BS, couch sitting and snacking. Get your fat ass moving and get moving. I'm just saying that with love. Get back in the ring, dude. Muscle memory is shockingly getting me back faster than I expected. Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. Big Paul X, morning, coach. I was away from lifting for about 8 months. I know you recommended gaining 10 pounds over 3 months, but does this include if you're expecting? Yeah, I would. Like, number one, you're getting back into it and you're going to be sore, right? But you're going to be building new muscle as well, so do it. Let it rip. Let it rip. I'm so happy this channel is present on YouTube. Thank you kindly. I appreciate that. Big Eric, the beard of redness. Hammies take a lot of recovery from me. More than a few sets a couple times a week is pretty rough for me. Yeah, that's one reason why I don't like to overwork the hammy whammies. John Paul, hello, YouTube. And what is your worst, most painful muscle group to get a muscle cramp? The one I used to get the most cramps on was the hamstrings in the middle of the night. I don't know if you guys get any of these or have gotten any of these, but in the middle of the night, I would get them quite often. These days, I get a lot of forearm cramps from back work, even with VersaGrips. Fat Chicken and Barn, I just did push-pull legs, and that was brutal. Chris, you're the man. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. All right, this is a good question. Favorite exercise for each body part. Favorite exercise for each body part. Let me think. Chest. Dumbbell bench. I like bench, but I like dumbbell bench more. Shoulders. Pin press. Seated pin press. Where I'm just pushing off the pin on the first rep. Back. Dumbbell rows. Love dumbbell rows. Quads. Squats for the block wink. Squats all the way. Triceps. I like the big lifts. Cable tricep extensions, I can do a lot of volume on. It's not the most impactful, but I kind of like doing them. Bicepticons, easy bar curls, hamstrings, glute ham raise on a back extension station, and that's and power shrugs. Lanny Bevington of the House Bevingtons. Lanny Bevington of the House Bevington. Good morning. What do you recommend for more power out of the hole on deadlift? Quad strength and yoke strength. Be able to use a lot of weight on power shrugs. Get your quads really strong. That's a good start. Just time getting your erectors and putting in your deadlift work on top of that. Barbell Bryce, currently doing power sets on bench since I'm following Power Muscle, Burn Block, Bulldozer. But it sounds like you prefer more volume for benching. Not necessarily. You just have to structure things on your setup. Like if I'm doing Power Muscle, Burn Block, or Bulldozer for chest, I'm going to do power bench, and I'm going to do muscle dumbbell bench, and then I'm going to do muscle like maybe guillotine press 1 week, or you could do floor press the next. You could do plate loaded chest press the next. So you can squeeze all that in, and then you get to you can do a power set of close grip benches, and you can squeeze all that in on your chest day. Lucas, get big, leave a big coffin. Why not? I mean, you only live once, right? Do it your way, and everybody else can kiss the old brown star, right? Sorry to be crude, but that's just the way it is. Everybody can kiss the old ass. Do it your way. And you know what? Leave the word debates for people that want to debate words. I want to lift weights. Aberrant, if I get big muscles, will I still be able to? Just thinking of something somebody said on Team Massive. If I get big muscles, will I be able to wash myself in the shower? Well, the downside of big muscles is like I can barely touch my neck. There's so much, like the bicep and the forearm mass are so pushing against one another that I can barely touch my neck. But yeah, I can touch my booty. No problem. Yeah, you don't need a long stick to touch your booty. You would need a brush to hit that back because anyway, I was laughing at something that somebody said on Team Massive, and I'll share the joke. We'll have a laughing moment. There are some of the folks in the fitness world we call pseudo intellectuals. They like to use big words, right? And they like to talk in an elevated manner and use big words and try to sound very important, right? And somebody said, these are the types of people you'd expect to fart in a glass and smell their own fart because they think their shit doesn't stink, right? Just a little bit of humor. But there are some what we call pseudo-intellectuals in any industry. It's a little bit of insecurity. They try to pick and choose every word like it has to be, life or death, and the biggest, most intimidating word we can use for things. So anyway, it is what it is. Eric, double progression. Is there an optimal exercise specific repetition range in which progression is more sustainable and better to handle? That's going to be exercise specific. So for me, we have to determine for each exercise what the range feels best for us. Like, for example, pendley rows. I would rather do 4 to 5 sets of 6 reps than to do 3 sets of 12. I just do not like doing higher reps on pendley rows. Physically taxing, and I'd prefer to do heavier, more grind out work. So every exercise is going to be different. What we don't want to do is bottle ourselves in on an exercise and try on an exercise range and say, I'm going to apply this same range to all similar exercises, right? On dumbbell bench, I like to do higher rep work. I do. I just like it. Why? Who cares? I like to do it. People overanalyze. Why do you like higher rep work on bench and dumbbell bench? I don't know. I just do. I don't find I'm puffed. I find I get really good soreness, et cetera, et cetera. So always never bottle yourself in. Always adjust the rep range to an exercise and be okay with that. All right, we got some really good questions coming up. I can see some stuff coming up on Judas Priest's new album. My client Harut. Guys, we got about 20 questions left. Just wanted to call you guys to get them in, get your questions in early every week. We have somebody that falls behind. If you can't watch now, watch this thing later on. I do put these on podcasts. So if you are on Spotify, Apple, wherever you have podcasts, these go on there. So you can actually search the Massive Iron podcast, and all these things go on a podcast. I appreciate you guys watching these things back on YouTube, because one of the reasons why people don't do long YouTube videos, and this is just a short sidebar, long lives, is because YouTube punishes you. YouTube wants you to do live videos, but YouTube also looks at watch time. And when like 60% of your viewers watch a live video for 5 minutes, while the rest of you are watching for 2 hours, it brings your watch time down. And then YouTube doesn't show it to a lot of people for good reason. That's their algorithm, and that's fine. But I will say the longer you guys watch this, the better. So I appreciate everybody who takes time to watch, invest time to watch the lives. I sincerely appreciate it. All right, TK. Building out a home gym myself, what do you recommend past the standard rack? I love this question. One of my favorite questions. Barbell, adjustable bench, and dumbbells. So you got the rack. You got that big porn star rack. Couldn't resist. Just humor. You got that big rack. Just crude. I'm a man. Hold it against me. Just humor. All right, you got your rack, you got your barbell, you got your adjustable bench. An adjustable bench is almost a necessity. It helps a lot for seated pin press, inclines. It just gives you options. So it's a smart thing to get. And you got your dumbbells. So you have a pretty good setup. So from here, what would you get? Number one, I'd get an easy bar. They're cheap. Okay. Number two, I'd get an Olympic dumbbell handle, so you can do dumbbell rows with a lot of weight. Number three, I'd probably get a landmine attachment, super cheap, so you can do T-bars or Meadows rows. Next, I would get a cable station, so you can do cable tricep extensions, lat pull downs, seated cable rows. These run fairly cheap, $300-ish. They're not bad. They're really, really super cheap compared to a lot of other equipment in the industry. So I would get one of those. Where would I go next? Well, you have pretty much all you need for a really good workout. But from there, I would probably ask myself, how much do I want to work legs, right? How important is for me to work legs? What degree of insanity do I have? If you really want to work legs and you get tired of squats, I would get a leverage squat. I would invest some money on a leverage squat. Titan Fitness has a leverage squat that is, I love it. I love it. I love it. A lot of people are like, Titan Fitness isn't, always the best quality. Their leverage squat is. And their T-bar is almost gym quality. I'm kind of going down a rabbit trail here, but I like to get leg equipment, a leg extension, leg curl. Titan Fitness has a really good leg extension, leg curl, 2-in-1 system, and then a good leverage squat. That's what I like, right? That's what I like having in my home gym, so I can work legs and not just do squats and Bulgarians and lunges. Lucas, would you recommend, if I only want to grow back thickness, my back width is already starting to get in the way of my mobility? It's pretty much the same thing. I know in the industry we like to separate these two, but you're going to get wider and bigger. Thickness is going to come from rows, and rows, barbell rows, pendlay rows, seated cable rows, dumbbell rows, lat focus rows. Just hammer the rows, my friend. TK, home gym follow-up. I'm finding it hard to hit quads without hitting the lower back. You can, you got Bulgarian split squats and you got lunges. So those are your big two at home if you don't have any extra equipment. Hey, Steve, running a torso limb split. And for those of you guys that don't know, a torso limb split is basically you're doing chest, shoulders, and back. Okay. Chest, shoulders, and back on one day. And then on the next day, you're doing arms and legs, limbs. Is it enough to do only one exercise for biceps and one exercise for triceps? Yeah, because you're going to be doing a couple of those basically per week. You're going to have 2 limbs workouts. You're going to have a limbs workout every 3.5 to 4 days, right? So you're going to get in 2 exercises for biceps and triceps per week. So that's absolutely fine. Chris, what's your favorite MLB team? Milwaukee Brewers, my friend. I grew up in Wisconsin. I grew up a Brewers fan, watching Robin Yount, Paul Mahler, and Cecil Cooper, and Gorman Thomas, and Pete Vukovich, and Raleigh Fingers. And just a Brewers fan. You can't shake it out of my blood. I'm a baseball fan in general, but I always got to keep an eyeball on my Brewers. Just love the Brewers. It's okay if you can open the link. Not sure what you mean. Tall lad. Hey, Steve, can I still build muscle with only one set to failure? Well, you can build muscle with any minimal degree of work. Is it the best choice? No. Would I recommend only one set to failure? No. Do I recommend training to failure? No. In the massive iron world, we talk about pushing a set for as many quality reps as possible, stopping the set when we feel like we might fail on the next rep or when form starts to break down. Does that make sense? There's no point in training to failure. We want to stop when the next set's going to be at failure or next rep. I would do more volume than that. So dumbbell back exercises, you can do dumbbell row. You can do the lat focused dumbbell row. You can do the seal row, kind of the chest supported dumbbell row. You can even do a dumbbell pullover, which is more like a lat prayer. You can get some lat focus on that as well. Matt, a client of mine, dropping by to say hi. Thanks, Matt. Vicious. I used to have calf cramps at night before I started lifting. Yeah, it's kind of weird that you don't get them now. A little bit backwards, but hey, that's the weird thing that the body does, right? Mike, what a great show, Steve. Thank you, sir. I'm following the Texas method. It's funny, nobody really talks a lot about the Texas method anymore, but I remember back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, it was talked about so much. Now, if I fail on the last set, so do 3 reps instead of 5, do I rest and then honestly, you could do it. I mean, if you feel good, there's no harm in resting and then pounding the last 2 just to push your body a little bit more. But just be smart. Just be smart. You don't have to. If you want to, I would give yourself the flexibility if you feel good and the lower back feels good. Big John, if I bulk from 164 to 220, that's 56 pounds in 2 years. That's a little bit too aggressive. The most muscle you could probably gain in 2 years if you were like just crushing things would maybe be around 18 pounds. So if you're looking at gaining like 56 pounds in 2 years, you're putting on a lot of fat, nearly 40 pounds of fat, a little bit too aggressive. I would probably, you know, I would probably cap that at like 50, 25 per year. That's a long cut. So, I mean, we're splitting hairs here, but you know, you're talking about a long-term cut. I would probably go from 164 to like 205, 210, and then bulk, or I do maybe a tweener cut, bulk for 11 months, cut for a month, repeat. Just don't go too aggressive. I would pull back just a little bit. Josiah, I see a lot of people talking about elbow tendonitis. That's fine. I don't know what they're teaching, but always know the best way to fix elbow tendonitis is through grip support, because it's an overuse injury caused by overuse of the grip, and there's no way around it lifting, so we have to use grip support. John, just tune in, but ain't news on the app. Yes. There is a training app coming out. It is called Mass Forge. We have updates weekly. This is happening. There will be a beta next year for members of Team Massive only. There'll be a private forum on my Team Massive for app users only. And we are going to be doing things in the industry that have never been done before. It is coming along. It looks great. We are not going to give out any information. We're not going to give out any information moving forward until the beta starts, because we want to be ahead of the game. We're going to be doing things for lifters that have never been done before. That's not an overpromise. And we're not going to release it till all the bugs are out. But the heart and cornerstone of our app is going to be a workout tracker, because if your workout tracker sucks, then everything else is going to suck in the app and no one will want to use it. So we are making the workout tracker strong. And then from there, all the other features we're going to have, are going to bring King Kong into the market. We're probably looking early, mid next year. It's coming fast because it's really shaping up. So hang tough. Stay tuned. Is it possible to be gaining on a bulk and suddenly drop a few pounds? Yeah, it absolutely is. A lot of things can happen in the human body. We can pick up workout-induced or exercise-induced inflammation. You can have a muscle inflame from a hard workout, and then it can flush. You can eat more carbs one day, pick up water retention, then flush. You can have a pizza night and a drinking night and pick up water and then have it flush. So it's not unusual, but we have to always look at the trends of the graph rather than the small little blips. Barbell Bryce, can you walk us through how your training was when you built most of your muscle? Let me get a drink here. So I had an English professor. I went to a small college called New Mexico Tech, New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. I studied astrophysics, blah, blah, blah. Pat me on the back, right? It was a small gym. And lo and behold, my English professor was a bodybuilder. Looked great. Looked great. He would sit in the corner, like it was a small gym. So he'd be working out. I'd be working out. And slowly he'd give me tips, on squats. One of the things he gave me, I remember, was on squats, when you come up, think about driving your hips forward to lock out the squat. I never heard that stuff on Muscle and Fitness or Flex. That was brilliant stuff. That's powerlifting stuff. Like, he was well ahead of his time. He told me another gem. was to do per body part, some work for lower reps, like the 4 to 6 rep range, some work in the moderate rep range, 8 to 12, and some in the higher rep or burn rep range. And that's where I developed the power muscle burn system, and that's what I really use. So back then, I was a naive kid. I started off with like 2 to 3 sets of heavy benching, and then I would do and then I would do like a more muscle set of like dumbbell bench 8 to 12, 2 sets, and then I do a isolation lift, and then I would rotate back to a heavy lift. And soon I figured out it's not good to do heavy, moderate, light, heavy, moderate, light. So I would do the heavier lifts out of the gate, then the muscle work, and then the burn work or isolation work. And the heavier work, instead of just doing straight sets, I evolved them a little bit, where I would do kind of a heavier set, like 245 by max reps, and then 225 by max reps, and then like 205 by max reps. So I'd kind of ramp back down, and that's where the threes kind of developed in those years. And the rep goal system, I started using that on some exercises on the muscle sets. So I kind of slowly evolved things over the years. It was the same basic structure, but different applications of how I progressed and what progression scheme I used, if that makes sense. Brandon, Judas Priest has a new album coming out. I was skeptic. But I listened to the new song, and it's pretty smoking, man. It's a pretty good song. It takes a lot to impress me musically. Like, I'm so over a lot of the modern music from classic bands because it's just boring and dredged out, and they lost their life and their passion and their youth and their energy and all that good stuff. But this is a great song. It's something that has a lot of energy. It's one of those rare songs, like, you grew up like me, like an old grumpy guy. I would cut my teeth on Master of Puppets. I was in the concerts, sneaking whiskey in my underwear, watching Metallica in, like, I don't know, 1989 or 90 or whenever it was, right? That was me. I grew up on Master of Puppets and Justice and Ride the Lightning. And then, you get a new Metallica album and you're like, man, you really want it to be great. And then you listen, you're like, right. And it's not that. It is great to people that like its new music, but it's not, let's be real, it's not the same, right? Music is not always the same. Does that make it bad? No, because for somebody else, it might be their first Metallica album. They might like that kind of Metallica. But like for me, my reference point is I always wanted everything to be like Master of Puppets or Justice, or Garage Days. So when I listen to a new album by a lot of these old bands, I'm like, it feels like being constipated and trying to squeeze out enjoyment of something you really don't enjoy. But the Priest song, I'm like, exceeded every expectation, right? I just hope the whole album lives up to that. Harut, out of the 5 main lifts, how would you order their 1 rep max calculator accuracy based on 6 step? Squats, I find, like, I had a hard time for a long time physically getting more than 405 by 5 on squats, even when my max was 500. Like, my max literally outshadowed my ability to do reps. So I think on squats there can be some variability. When you get into higher rep work on squats and bench, it'll project your 1 rep max a little bit higher than it actually is, maybe by about 10 pounds. That's not really answering your question, but I think squats are the one where you usually can do a little bit more than what your reps might say on your max. Bench, I would say you can usually do some, if you're doing rep work, maybe a little bit less than it might say. And I think overhead press is usually pretty reasonable, and so is deadlift. Does that help? Hard question to answer. So Larzo, hola. Regarding your live video tomorrow on Massive Iron, how much do you spend on fixing? How much do you, like, is it just quick overview? Well, I can't literally rework things from the ground up. It would take me like 20 minutes per video. So what I'm going to look at is balance. I'm going to look at, should this exercise be over there? I'm going to give it a cursory glance, probably about 5 minutes per workout, and what I can fix in 5 minutes. Does that make sense? If it's really bad, we're just going to do we're going to do a quick prayer and say, need more help than that. What would be called a possessed workout, right? It needs an exorcism. It needs demons removed because it's evil, right? You know what I'm saying? Just humor. Brandon, I'm a creature of habit and keep exercising my workouts for months. No, you don't need to change anything out. There's no need to change out any exercises, man. That's some of the biggest nonsense in the industry. I've used the same exercise, the same core, exercises for 38, 39 years, my friend. Is it normal to find posterior days brutal? Oh, yeah. Yes. A lot of weight, a lot of tension, a lot of stress. I mean, we got to train both, but yeah, you are right on track. Arcane Knight, how did you decide on the +5 and the rep goal system? +5. Not sure what you mean. Not sure what you mean, Arcane Knight, +5. Maybe you can fill me in. Like, do we have to set a rep goal of 25 or 30 or 35? No, but just round numbers. You can use 32, 33. You can adjust anything how you want in the rep goal system. Just people like round numbers, so I use them as examples. Does that make sense? All right, guys, we got about 5 questions left. 5 questions left. Post your questions up now. If not, I'm going to jump ship when this is done. Harut, why do you think people are obsessed testing their 1 rep max constantly and others couldn't care less? Now I'm trying not to be critical, because then I would put myself in the anti-power building, world, where like people get critical of anyone doing low rep work. But why do people, I think folks are obsessed with a number rather than the process, and that's not inherently being critical. But some people just want to know rather than, like, I can plug into a calculator. I can do 225 by 25 on bench and know I'm right around 400. I don't need to test it, just experience. I know the calculator is close enough. And, people like, knowing on a calculator is not the same as testing. True, it is not the same as testing, but it's close enough. I know where I'm about. And I don't need, to test. I don't like to test. Testing, I know from being at powerlifting meets, and I know from personal experience, that when you start to test your deadlift and you start to test your squat, you get into some really tricky waters. So I don't like to put myself in that position. I don't like to risk injury. I save the Super Bowl plays for the Super Bowl days. I save the Super Bowl plays for the Super Bowl days, right? Younger guys tend to be more superhuman, where, they don't see the downsides as much, where older guys tend to be more, they don't want to jack their shit up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But yeah, I got some guys coming to me that want to test it all the time. And it does drive me crazy because I think it's just a waste of gym time. Body weight's a weird thing. Everybody gets different results. Maybe it could also be that I started to foam roll. You never know. Never know, my friend. We'd be putting out a pure bodybuilding book. Everything I do is bodybuilding focused. It's just the massive iron way. So I have some programs that are more bodybuilding centric, but really everything I do is bodybuilding with the frame of plus ones. You don't have to be obsessed with strength, right? You don't have to squat and deadlift. The whole massive iron world is muscle building, right? With a love for strength, but you do not have to have that love for strength to be in the massive iron world. You can just use plus ones or progression as a tool. My clients, we talk about controlling the weight. Ask my clients if they're going fast on a lift on a form video, they get a speeding ticket. So uh, we do not, we're not just focused on numbers. We're focused on bodybuilding. Everything I do is basically pure bodybuilding. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Carl, I'm 5'10" and 164 and was thinking of bulking to 176. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, I was 5'10", 155 when I started. And, I bulked straight up to like 186 over a couple of years. So that's fine. Just train hard and there'll be no real downsides. I'm going to jump this one in real quick. Stan wants a link to the documentary, and let me find it. Okay. I don't know if can you guys paste off of a comment link? I don't think it's too hard, but you guys can let me know. Let me just find it. I have to find the actual link. So hold on a second. Don't go anywhere while I'm finding this. If you guys want to, there we go. I found it. If you guys want to post up, finding it. Oops. This is the first half of the documentary. Ready? I'm going to post that up. Okay, so those of you guys, this is the first hour of the documentary. And where you see it says V equals, all you have to do is copy or screenshot the rest, and you can just paste that into your browser and find it. It's not public. It's unlisted because of the music in it. I'm still trying to secure stuff like that. So it's unlisted, but that's where you can find it. You can also email me and I'll send it to you as well. All righty, where are we at? I like the cap you always have in your head. What's the brand? This is Browning. And if you guys hold on a second, Amazonian. You get it on Amazon or Browning. Browning has a lot of really good caps. And let me see if I can find it for you. Here we go. It's called the Browning Liberty Wax Cap. Browning Liberty Wax Cap. You can find it on Amazon. Browning Liberty Wax Cap. I love the cap. I just love the shape. I just love the way it lasts. It's hard, like my head, but that's what it's called on Amazon. What do we got? Where are we at? Steve Jr. In the next 2 years, I can only work out twice a week. Can I bulk? Yeah, you want to bulk. You want to bulk normally. If you're only doing the 10-pound bulks, you're not going to get too far from home. So you'll be perfectly okay. Stan, have you had any clients with lower crossed syndrome? I've not heard of that. Let's Google it. Lower crossed syndrome. Lower cross syndrome is known as lower cross syndrome is a muscular imbalance that results in postural changes, which can lead to lower back pain over time. You mean kind of like is it a tilted body kind of thing? Does it tilt inward? Does the spine tilt inward? Does the spine tilt sideways? I'm not certain. I've had people with all kinds of conditions, and I've trained Special Olympians with all kinds of conditions. I've had clients with scoliosis. I've had clients that had really unique spinal issues or recovered from spinal injuries. I've had some really unique situations. So I've had some folks that everybody, no matter what you're doing, when you're trying to fix things, you're trying to find out what they can do. But I don't know how to fix that. No. All I know how to do is train the body to get as big and as strong as possible from head to toe. Arcane Knight got it. I thought rep goal was average of the rep range times number of sets. Yeah, I mean, that's a starting point. So if you want to average 8 reps per set, and you want to do 3 sets, you do 24 plus 5 or 29. That just allows you. Here's what I mean. Okay. Let's say you want to average about 8 reps on bench. Okay. So you have 3 sets and you're averaging 8. In the rep goal world, you're pushing every set for max safe reps. So you could have 12, 9, and 7, right? There's going to be a rate of decay. 12, 9, and 7 is going to be 26. Okay. 12, 9, and 7 is 26. And that is an average of like 8 point whatever. So if you added weight at that point, you'd probably drop to like 10, 7, and 5 or something. You drop down to 22. So all of a sudden you're at like 7. So if you add weight at that point where you're already over your rep average, you're going to drop way below your rep average and you're going to linger there for a while. If you wait till you get to like 14, 10, and 8, then you're going to be at like 32, right? Which is more than 5 above your rep average. So if you add weight, you're going to drop down to like 12, whatever. So you're going to end up being closer to your rep average when you use a plus 5 goal on average when you're in the grind, if that makes sense. If you just bumped it, a little bit lower, your average rep range is going to be just a hair lower than that. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense at all? All right. Long rests between sets, like 5 minutes plus, allow for more volume. Why is this not better than standard? Well, I don't want you guys to get caught in the weeds here, right? What we want to do on any set, on any day, is when we feel mentally and physically ready to go again and give that set 100%, we go. Okay. So I don't like arbitrary numbers because every day is going to be different. Someday you might be more physically tired. Someday you might be more mentally tired. Someday you might feel like a superhuman. Your recovery is faster. I like to keep it intuitive. That doesn't mean you can't staple certain rep periods in your program. But we don't want to draw it out too long because it's just not practical. And I think if you draw it out longer than more intuitive, it gets to the point where we're starting to get a little bit silly, right? We're starting to we want a balance of work capacity and reasonable rep times, so we don't want to draw it out so long that it's almost like we're pushing recovery to the absurd. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Eric, would using dynamic double progression with your power muscle burn routine be a good method? Yeah, you could do that on the power or the muscle sets. That's the beautiful thing about the massive iron system is these pieces of the puzzle are basically interchangeable. So you could have an 8 to 12 rep range on your muscle sets. And you could use DDP, you could do last set max reps. You could really do dynamic double progression. You could do whatever you want. Certainly okay. There are no rules as long as you're in the wisely constructed massive iron sandbox. Last call, guys. We got 2 questions left. It is when the abdominals and glutes get inhibited. Gotcha. Understood. Last question. Can we do a less strength focused program without deads and squats in a home gym? Well, that's not just call squats and deads specifically a strength focused program because they're amazing muscle builders. Let's just toss out you don't want to do squats and deads, but you still want to progressively overload. I think that's a better way to frame it, right? So yeah, you can do plenty of barbell, or you can do plenty of back exercises. I don't know your equipment, but you can do Pendley rows, you can do Yates rows, you can do chest supported rows, you can do dumbbell rows, you can do Meadows rows, you can do you might even be able to do seated cable rows or lat pull downs or pull ups or chin ups. You can do all kinds of back work. Now at home, the problem you get into when you drop squats is what equipment do you have? You all of a sudden you're defaulting to lunges. You're defaulting to Bulgarian split squats, goblet squats, probably my least favorite leg exercise because it's just hard to overload a goblet squat. You get to a point where it's harder to get the dumbbell in place, and then you run out of dumbbell room. So legs are harder. You probably have to invest in some leg equipment. B, I resistance train constantly 3 to 4 times a week. Been introducing a 4 to 5th intense HIIT workout, though. What do you think about this? Yeah, absolutely. There's no downside. That's part of the old bodybuilding. The body is fragile mindset. If you do HIIT, I'm not going to recover and build muscle. I'm hindering gains. It's all nonsense. Do it. You're fine. No problem. Great for health. John, like a minimal home gym setup like the rack. Yeah, all you can really do is Bulgarians and lunges, and maybe if you're lucky, you can do old school sissy squats, whatever I was going to say. Just caught the live. Thanks and have a nice weekend. Last call, guys. Last call. Stan, thank you so much for the stream. Happy weekend. And I find it massively improves fatigue recovery. Do it. There's nothing wrong with taking care of your body. All right, guys, that's it. Massive Iron Live Friday. What are we, November 3rd, 2023. Tune in next week. Come back next week. Maybe we'll put our hat on backwards, right? We'll be like, who puts their hand on backwards, right? I don't know. We'll be here next Friday. If you guys, please come over on Instagram and follow me. I've been the Barman. If I missed any of your questions, I'd be happy to, answer them over there. We got a couple more coming in, so we're going to answer them. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the Repco system. Thank you for your support. Thanks, my man. Thanks to Josh. During my bulk, I'm hungry sometimes. Can you please do a video on that? When I do a nutrition video on YouTube, it doesn't get many views because YouTube hates my nutrition videos for some reason. But one of the issues you're looking at is like the insulin roller coaster. We find that people that eat more frequently tend to feel more hungry more frequently. And people that do intermittent fasting tend to feel less hungry as often. So probably, you still have to have a calorie goal, right? You still have to have a calorie goal. You still have to stick to it. But if you're hungry too often, or you feel like consumed by hunger, when are you hungry? Can you move calories around? Are there times when you're less hungry where you can eat a little bit less and save more calories for those times when you are hungry? Does that make sense? Stan, one day I will meet you. Look out next year, man. I'm coming. I'm going to do my best to come over there. We're going to hit Wales. We're going to hit Scotland. We're going to hit England. Then we might spend a couple days looking at Sweden, Norway, some other countries over there. I don't know that I'll make it to Greece. I have a couple clients in Greece. Had a couple clients in Greece, couple in Italy, but maybe Germany. We might have a couple clients in Germany. In your life, what's one physical task you crush because you lift? Good question, man. Good question. I think when I try a new sport and my strength level is so elevated that it pushes me up the ladder of performance inherently. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to give this example because, it might sound silly, but I used to work with 145-pound Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, right? And he wasn't like the GOAT. Let's be fair. He was just like a jiu-jitsu guy. This was 10 years ago. And he was kind of overestimated his abilities a little bit, right? I'll put it politely. And he used to always like to tell me, because I was this big, strong guy, strength doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu. If I put you in such and such, you couldn't get out. Now, that's probably fair for a lot of really skilled jiu-jitsu guys, right? That's probably fair. I'm not pretending like just because I'm strong, I can break out of your arm lock or whatever. But this guy decided he was going to do something with my hand, like holding it, like I can put your hand like this, and you won't be able to break out. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, right? And it was like, okay, do it, dude. So like he put his hand on the thing and he did the thing, and he's like, you can't break out. And I was like, and like, I think the only point here is that strength can give you a little bit of an advantage over the gen pop, when you're doing other physical activities. Like I remember carrying a washing machine down by myself to the house from a truck, and people are like, right. But I like that stuff. I'm like, people ask if I like strongman. I never trained for strongman, but it doesn't mean I don't like, like when you can deadlift 660, carrying a 200-pound washing machine is kind of a fun challenge, right? You know what I'm saying? So, Steve Jr., thoughts on Chris Jones versus Doucette? Bulking 100%. Dr. Mike kind of called Doucette out this online. Main gaining is, look, if you want to really, you really want to short circuit your gains, then try to stick to the same weight on the scale and gain 10 pounds and lose 10 pounds of fat at the same time. It's really a horrible, awful idea. It is. Thanks, Road Agent. My forearm bone, I think, is hurting after completing bicep curls. That's okay. It'll come back and it'll be bigger and stronger. That's just the way it works. Steve Jr. is 6 pounds on a mini cut. Too slow. Well, it's probably the slowest I would want to go, because you don't want to stretch out that mini cut too long. But you get to that point, and you're really like, the next 10 days, I got to dig in and we got to sit through sucking the bleep up. Does that make sense? All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to Massive Iron Live. And we are out.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.